Another Dooley Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome to another edition of another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. We appreciate all those sponsors, and we appreciate all of our sponsors, but we have a great show for you today. Mark Wise is going to join us. We actually taped it on Thursday because he had to get out and go to a game, but he was doing radio for the Florida-Tennessee game, so it's good timing on it. We had been scheduled it a while back, and we'll have him on to talk about the Gators and talk about college basketball. It should be fun. Coach Spurrier on Monday. Still working on a Friday guest for next week, but we'll let you know about that. Let us get to the hand law starting lineup right off the bat, and we appreciate what a great sponsor Chris Hand. I was talking to him the other day, and I was trying to think. I think he's been almost 2 years as a sponsor. That's pretty amazing, and we appreciate him so much. And as you know, the starting lineup, which is his idea, by the way, it's presented by Tahan Law, a Florida law firm which helps clients with government, you don't have to read that twice, helps clients with government and helps clients with government. You can learn more about Hand Law by visiting its website at www.hand.law. The firm is available for consultation in Jacksonville. And again, appreciate Chris Hand. All right, let's start with basketball. And it was certainly an exciting night in the O-Dome Wednesday night. That was old school Florida basketball where we saw the crowd go crazy and have fun and the Gators pull away at the end and everybody's celebrating. They did not storm the floor, which has become a story should never have been a story. It's a stupid story. Quit talking about it, okay? But I'm going to say one thing. You know why Florida didn't storm the court Wednesday night? Because Florida said, we're not going to let you storm the court. That's all you have to do. Don't let them do it. They had a bunch of cops in front of the students. Didn't let them do it. It's not hard. It's not difficult. I'm a big believer that you shouldn't storm fields and courts, okay? I think that's the playing area where you're supposed to play the game. I'm not a big believer that coaches should be 3 feet onto the court guarding people, but nobody seems to want to listen to me. But the point is, none of that is the point. The point is, of course, Florida winning that game, 67-54, going up against the number one defense in the country. And you saw why. They just kept running 6'11" guys out there that were physical, and Florida stayed with them physically. I mean, they lost a rebounding battle, but they didn't get embarrassed. I think they lost by 7, but they won the points in the paint battle. They also gave up no fast break points. Florida, I think, was 10-0 in fast break points. I mean, there's a lot of details to that game that you can go through. Florida now 6-3 in the SEC. I think everybody's kind of like, yeah, maybe this guy is going to work out after all. And look, I still don't think this team's going to make the NCAA tournament, to be bluntly honest with you. These next 2 games are going to be really hard to win, and then they've got some just all kinds of potholes ahead of them, and they still have done nothing in the non-conference. I still think it's going to be they're going to have to really win some more games, and I think it's important to note that. But he is settled on what he wants to do, and they're doing it, and they're doing it very well. They're playing defense, and they're only playing a few guys. In fact, Kawase Reeves went in and was awful, took a terrible shot, one of the many hero shots they tried, when Tennessee had their comeback, and was pulled and never came back in the game. You need to do that. You stay with the guys. Now, you worry about them wearing down. Castleton played 36 minutes in the game. I think Lofton played 35. You worry about that, but you had to win that game. That was the game you had to win. And we talked about the 4 games in a row. Unbelievable games that they were playing. Kansas State certainly did not work out well. They never were in the game. This was the one at home you had to win. They win that game. Now you got to go to Kentucky. Not going to be easy, but hey, it's doable. It's not like I'm going to give up on it. And then go to Alabama, and of course, Alabama the best team in the league. But we'll see what happens there. But the bottom line is, for a night anyway, Gator fans got really happy. They were really happy. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. A lot of it had to do with the Rowdy Reptiles doing such a great job, but we'll get to that. Number 2, so here's what Florida did in the net ranking. They went, and this is why we keep, harping on, you got to win a game like this, a big game against a really good team that has a good net ranking. Tennessee is still number 2. They didn't go down because they lost a road game to somebody that's got a decent net ranking. Well, here's what Florida's did. It went from 52 to 41 with that win, because that was obviously a quad 1 that'll hold up. We know that'll hold up. All right, so you're 41. You're not in at 41. It's funny, the teams that are below them, think about this. North Carolina, preseason number 1, is below Florida in net ranking. Michigan State is below them. There's a couple of blue bloods. Texas A&M is below them. Texas A&M's beaten them twice. But Texas A&M even has a worse non-conference record than Florida did. So I know the net rankings, in the end, they're a guide. They're not the do-all, end-all, but you need to be up in there. And the higher up you get is by winning big games. And I do. There's a part of me that looked at the way they kind of you're going to say I'm being a jerk. They kind of over-celebrated, just watching the videos of Todd Golden. But I understand why. I mean, that was he had finally said, hey, I can get this done at this level. This was his statement game. And that doesn't mean everything's going to go great. So I don't want to take anything away from their celebration, but I do worry about the next game, because teams sometimes, and I've seen this in every sport, they live the last game right up until the tip-off of the next game. And unfortunately, they've got to do different things to beat Kentucky than they did to beat Tennessee. Tennessee, I think, showed some real flaws in offensively in that game. All right, so number 3 on the hand-off starting lineup, I wanted to talk about Billy Napier's press conference. Was on Wednesday, the same day. Had it at about 4:15 to talk about their one guy that they signed. But when he is really good at press conference. He gives good press conference. We were talking about that on the radio, how good he is at it. Because after you get done listening to him, you go, "Oh, I see what he's doing. I understand now what he's trying to do." And I think and this guy did that. He's really putting together a good team. He also indicated, you have to read between the lines, we're not going to be that good next year, but we're getting there. We're going to get there. Stay with us. Trust us. And I think that's why you've seen so many people come out, Emmitt Smith, Chris Doering, other people who've come out and said, stay with this guy. He knows what he's doing. And I think that is very hard to do. It's so hard to be a Gator fan and go, oh, yeah, we've been 6-7 the last 2 years. Yeah, let me hang in there. I know it's difficult, but after that press conference, I felt totally different than I did going into it. You should feel better. And of course, the news came out: Jaden Rashada signs with Arizona State. Good for him. Let him be. Let him go. Let him enjoy his freshman year in college. I don't want to hear any more about it. I don't want to hear about the numbers. I don't want to hear about the $13 million deal that may or may not have existed. Just let it all go. I know he didn't get $13 million to go to Arizona State. All right, number 4 on the starting lineup, brought to you by Hand Law. A lot of news in the NFL and some not news as we wait. This is kind of the Saturday, the weekend without football. This is the penultimate weekend of football season, but it's the last, because look, we're going to talk about the Pro Bowl, but you know better. So a lot of news. Sean Payton to the Broncos, obviously. DeMeco Ryans to the Texans. Brady retires. I don't think that happened while we were still doing the show Monday. Brady retires. That means Kyle Trask should be the guy, but I don't know that that's necessarily true. I don't know that they're saying, well, now he's had 2 years to learn under him. He's ready to go. Maybe. Or they may say, we need to get an old guy in here. We got to try to win right now. We can win games right now. And we don't think he's ready. I don't know. We'll find all that out. That's going to be the fascinating thing. We still don't know where Aaron Rodgers is going. Somebody had a great tweet. They said Aaron Rodgers woke up and saw his shadows, so it'll be 6 more months before we'll find out where he's playing. Or weeks, I guess. And also, Derek Carr not extended. Somebody's going to get him. I've always thought Derek Carr was a pretty good quarterback, but man, when you look at the W's and L's, it's not good. And that in the end is the bottom line. So that was some of the news in the NFL, but there'll be a lot more news coming out every day. This is the time of year. It's their talking season. Next week will be Super Bowl talking season, and then real talking season starts, and they'll evaluate. By the way, those of you who are sending videos out of guys practicing at the Senior Bowl, please stop doing it. I don't care what anybody's doing on the Senior Bowl. You're just taking up bandwidth or whatever. Is that the word? Bandwidth? No, whatever. Nobody cares. That guy cares. The guy he was blocking cares. I don't care, personally. All right. And finally, number 5 on the hand law starting lineup, I want to shout out because Florida last night, and I was paying attention to it, beat Florida State in tennis 4-2. Anytime you beat FSU in anything, it's a good day. Okay. So that tennis team, which of course, I'm sure everybody's kind of, forgotten about just because Ben Shelton's gone on and now he's in the Australian Open. We're going, man, he was great. It's kind of funny. I'm doing this thing for Gators Wire on players who were wasted at Florida. And that is, they were great players, but the team's record wasn't very good. Okay. And it's like with Ben Shelton, you kind of go, no, they didn't waste him. They did pretty good with him. Won a national championship. What did they get the Final Four the other year? He won an individual championship. They did all right with him. That's what you want to do. Maximize great players. That doesn't always happen, as we know. All right. So anyway, 4-2 Florida. Well done. I always like to bring those up. All right, we got a lot of things to get to, but first we got to get to Mark Wise, and we look forward to that. I think he's the smartest college basketball guy out there. He's one of the few that I can listen to every time he talks, and we're going to listen to him for a while coming up here on the show. We'll be right back with more of another Duly Noted podcast presented, as always, by Titan MRI. And as always, we come to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios at Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another Duly Noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where, everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Ribco To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life. And the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Pat Dooley Storytime is brought to you by Eastlake Pediatrics. Nobody knows how to provide pediatric health care for little Gators better than Dr. Mike and the other board-certified pediatricians and the pediatric nurse practitioners of Eastlake Pediatrics. They have been providing personalized health care to the children of Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough counties since 2004. And with the recent addition of Dr. Chris, who is also board certified in sports medicine, they are now offering care for youth sports injuries as well. To learn more about Eastlake Pediatrics, call 727-372-6760. And to get to know them better, listen to Dr. Mike and Dr. Carey on their Peds and Pop podcast on multiple platforms.
Is your bank dropping the ball, not playing with heart or skill? Then you need to check out the scouting report on Campus USA Credit Union. That's a 5-star recruit if I've ever seen one. Campus has it all, like great rates and products, friendly service, and smart game plans for you and your money. So why not put some star power in your financial life? Visit campuscu.com or any campus service center today.
Honey, can I recruit you to take the garbage out?
Jeffrey, what are you doing?
Well, I'm joining the band, of course. Since Meldon Law is the official law firm partner of the Florida Gators, I want to help.
Dad, we're litigators. Let's stick to helping people in the courtroom.
Well, can we still hang out and jam a little bit? At Meldon Law, we won't back down.
The games of the week and the games of the weekend every week are brought to you by the Ben Ige team at Odell Realty. Ben Ige graduated from the University of Florida in 1998. He and his team now help Gators find vacation homes in Western North Carolina that also double as investment properties. Ben and his team have helped many folks take advantage of the incredible opportunities in mountain homes that also produce amazing returns on investments. Ben Ige and his team at Odell Realty go the extra mile to find properties and evaluate their income potential for their clients. Maybe you've thought of buying a home that can be used as short-term rental via Airbnb or Vrbo, generate income for you, and be a place for your family to vacation. Or you may just be looking for a great way to expand your real estate investment portfolio. I know I am. Visit www.beneige.com/Gators. That's www.beneige.com/Gators and discover what owning your own short-term home can accomplish for you. That's Ben Ige at Odell Realty, licensed real estate broker in North Carolina and proud Gator alum. Visit www.beneige.com/Gators or call 704-201-4264.
Calling Gator Nation. You're invited to be part of Gator history on Friday, February 10th for the official dedication of Steve Spurrier Way at Celebration Point Promenade in front of Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Lots of dignitaries and press will be on hand to witness this historic event. And it's open to all who bleed orange and blue. It's the grand unveiling of Steve Spurrier Way. It's all happening Friday, February 10th from 5:30 to 6:15 at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point.
Okay, welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. And it's great to go to our Big Mills Cheesesteak Zoom line. Did I get enough sponsors in there, Mark, for you? Because it's all about the sponsors, as we know.
Hey, man, I got to, first of all, why are there no basketballs in the background?
Because it's not. If it was Neil Walk Restaurant, maybe there would be.
You got the hoop junkie on. You're giving me football help.
Yeah, that's true. We maybe should have brought him in for that game, but look forward to talking to you because you know how I feel about you. I've told people this story many times during the 2007 season. Florida won every game, it felt like, by 9 points. And so they were just trying to get to the postseason, and I would go to you sometimes and go, give me a theme. What happened here? He goes, well, you could talk about post defense. Oh, all right. Explain it to me, and then I'll go ask, and I'll act. It'll look like I'm really smart.
Well, that's very kind of you. It was kind of interesting to follow those two teams because for all of us, I mean, the first one was thrilling for all of us, and the second one was work. I mean, Billy Dobbin would tell you the same thing. It was a team that had so much pressure on it every night. They didn't get everybody's best shot in 06, but I promise you in 07, they got everybody's best shot.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I was there, I I think for 2 storm courts. So
Right.
it did, it happened all the time. Of course, you had the game, and again, we're taping this a day ahead, so you don't have to worry about whether you say last night or 2 nights ago. We're taping it a day ahead because Mark is going to, what do you have, South Carolina, Arkansas this week?
South Carolina, Arkansas. Timely that I'm getting Arkansas because they're playing better. I thought Arkansas, Pat, in the SEC Big 12 Challenge, even though Arkansas lost, I thought they were the most impressive team for the SEC and because they played super at Baylor. I mean, it was a really good game, and then they had a great win at midweek against Texas A&M. So it's a resume protector for Arkansas. They can't afford to trip up. And South Carolina is just, it's a team that struggled a lot this year.
What do you think of G.G. Jackson? Because I'd heard a lot about him, and you've seen him play before, right? But
this is my 6th time having them.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, he looks like a really talented kid who is being asked to force up shots, and I don't think he's getting anything out of his experience in college. He's one of those guys. Go ahead and go to the NBA where people are going to work with you. Now again, I'm seeing that from afar.
Right. Well, I will tell you what he's learned and what he's gotten better at in talking with him and watching him play. I had early on in the conference season, I had Tennessee at South Carolina when Tennessee won by about 450 points.
That's right.
And in that game, they were determined to not let Gigi impact the game in any way. And usually that starts with scoring. And I saw him get frustrated and basically kind of shut down in the game. And as a consequence, you're right. South Carolina is asking him to do so much on a nightly basis. I mean, they have no inside presence at all. Here's what I like about him, watching him since. He has learned to do some different things that did not come easy for him in the non-conference, meaning he's learned to impact it. This is a Billy Donovan term, impact the game in more ways than scoring. And so I've seen him get more aggressive off the bounce. I've seen him get himself to the free throw line. I've seen him do a better job of rebounding. So from that perspective, he has learned, his game has grown in college. But I love his positional length at 6'9". He definitely has guard skills. I think if he were on a better team, he would be shooting a much higher percentage from the 3-point line. And every mock draft that you look at has him somewhere, if not in the lottery, right at the lottery. So I would expect him to go in the 10 to 17 range because of that length. He's a humble kid. And so I think people are going to love him on the interview process, and he'll be a one-and-doner.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can tell that. You can just, when you watch him play, but then, it's not really helping them win games a lot of times, but there's who else is going to help win games. And that's part of the problem that they've inherited. I did want to ask you about the overall health of the SEC this year in terms of, I think we thought the SEC was going to be better than it is. And yet there are 2 really good teams, we think. We're still not, I think after last night, we're not 100% sure about Tennessee anymore, but there are a lot of teams that are dangerous and scary, and you hear that all the time. But I don't, obviously, Mark, the Big 12 SEC Challenge did not help the SEC.
Well, the Big 12 is better. I mean, there's no question about that. I said that before the SEC Big 12 Challenge, top to bottom, every metric that you use, whether you're talking about KenPom or the AP rankings, or I'm not a big rankings fan. I'm a big KenPom fan. The Warren Nolan, the net rankings and so on and so forth said that the Big 12 was better. And they proved that in that challenge. I think there's a couple of things at play here. If Alabama's jerseys, Pat, said Kentucky on them, would we have the same perception about the league? Because I think one of the things that the league is getting knocked about, and whether we like it or not, the league runs through Lexington in basketball.
Right, right.
And when they're not as good, the perception is the league's not as good. I just don't know that that's the case. It's just that this particular year, Alabama's better. With that being said, I think Alabama is built to have success in March. And I say that because I'm going to give you a long-winded answer because it's going to come back to Tennessee. So I've always maintained, as you well know, that at the end of the day, you've got to be able to score.
Right.
Coaches, if you ask them what you have to do to win, they all regurgitate the same thing: defend and rebound. Defend. No, you don't. No, you don't. You do have to have a presence defensively. You do have to, more importantly, have a rebounding presence. But at the end of the day, you've got to be able to score. So that led me to start doing some research when I had Alabama a couple of weeks ago. I've had them a couple of times now because I wanted to see if they fit the mode of what I was talking about. So I went back and looked at these numbers. If you want to make a run in the NCAA tournament, we all agree, and I think it's the same formula for everybody. You've got, first and foremost, you've got to have NBA talent. And everybody says, well, what about Butler? Well, the last time I checked, Gordon Hayward played in the league for a long time and is still playing. What about Wichita State? Well, the last time I checked, Fred VanVleet has played in the NBA for a long time. So you've got to have NBA talent. The next thing that you have to do is be in the top 40 in KenPom's offensive and defensive efficiencies. That's where it led me to this research. I looked at the Final Four or last year's KenPom top 10 teams defensive efficiency. How many of those top 10 do you think made it to the second weekend in the tournament of those top 10?
Well, I'm trying to think where you're trying to send this. So it's either a really high number or a really low number. I'm going to go with a low number. It was 3.
4. 4 of the 10 made it to the second weekend. Only Houston made it to the Elite 8. No one made it to the Final Four. Let's go over to the offensive end. How many of the top 10 offensive efficiency teams from a year ago made it to the second weekend?
I'll say a higher number. So it'd probably be, I'll say 7.
7 is correct. Of those 7, 3 went to the Final Four. Yes, you have to be in the top 40 defensive efficiency, but your offense better be better. So I thought, okay, well, maybe that's just a one-year deal. So I went back to the last 3 NCAA tournaments. Remember, we didn't have one in 2020, so you have to go back to 2019. Of the 12 teams that made it to the Final Four in those 3 years, every one of them were either really close in matching numbers, and when I say matching numbers, I mean within 10 spots of each other.
Right.
Or you were much better offensively, except for one, and that was in 2019. Texas Tech was like first in defensive efficiency, but only 25th in offense. It tells me if you're evaluating teams in March, you need to have a team that is really good defensively in the top 40. A team like Duke last year, 49th in the NCAA in the KenPom defensive efficiency, but first in offense. So you got to be good defensively, but you got to be better on offense. And so, again, a team that is built backwards, like Texas Tech, right now is Tennessee. Number 1 in the country in defensive efficiency, but 30th offensively. I looked this morning. So again, that's for teams that can be inconsistent on the offensive end, it only takes one bad night. I say all of that to say this. You can always have an outlier. And an outlier last year was Kentucky. 30th in defensive efficiency, 6th in offense. They fit the mode of doing well in March. They didn't. They lost to St. Peter's. I can't explain that no more than I can explain UMBC beating Virginia as a 16 seed. So those kinds of things can happen. I know that's a long-winded answer, but when you start looking at evaluating teams, who's built the right way, that comes into play.
Let me ask you about you had the Florida game last night. You did it with Sean Kelly.
I was pinch hitting.
Yeah, I enjoyed listening to it, though. It was great to hear. I'm actually a big fan of Sean doing basketball games. I haven't listened to any football games, so I can't judge that. But I like the way he does basketball. And, of course, having you on and to do analysis was like going back into the past. You were pinch hitting, but let's just talk about Florida and what you saw in that game against Tennessee.
Well, I said this on the air. If you want to win those kinds of games, it starts with two areas. And for Florida, it's actually three, and that was a better start than what they've been getting in some key games. One is your best player needs to be your best player. In those kinds of games, very rarely does a guy come off the bench and go for 25 and you win. And then secondly, you have to win the three-point battle. And I said on the air last night that Florida needed to do plus 10 in three-point differential. Let me just explain for whoever might be watching. Three-point differential means how many points do you score at the arc versus how many points do your opponent score in the arc. I also did this in preparation for a Bama game. Bama wins the three-point differential in league play on average by 19 points a game.
Wow.
That is a huge number. I don't think that surprises you, though, right? If I asked you who would lead in three-point differential, you would say Alabama. Would you have any idea who's second in the league?
Not really. I think Florida's up there pretty high, though. I think they're like
Tennessee is second at 8 points a game.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, when I did it, it's Florida at 7.5.
Yeah.
In a positive way. It's not that Florida makes a lot of threes. They just don't allow you to make a lot of threes. So I felt like they had to win the battle of the arc. Making those 2 threes early in the game, I think, got them off on the right foot. They ended up +6. They didn't quite make it to +10. But I think winning the arc was huge last night.
But still, there are so many. You saw that run. So Florida gets up 17-4. Tennessee goes on a run that's fueled by Florida taking a lot of hero shots and just bad shots, and they can't. It's like they don't get that out of their system. They need to,
But you have to evaluate who's taking the bad shots. And really, I didn't think Florida got anything off their bench. I mean, I know Bonham made a shot there in the first half, and that's important. But when there was a drop-off, I don't think there's any question about it. I thought the most impressive thing when the Tennessee run in the first half, it's our game. That's what our game is.
Yeah.
But in a key part, when Tennessee made their run in the second half, I thought it was against some guys coming off the bench. But more importantly, what did Florida do during that stretch to kind of stay in it? They went to the free throw line.
Yeah.
And I think that's an overlooked part of being efficient offensively. That's a positive possession, if you will, getting to the free throw line. Now, getting to the free throw line is one thing. Making your free throws is another. And Florida did an excellent job of doing that. So I think they got sick when they got down 6 or 7. I think Florida's next 6 points were all at the free throw line. And then when Myron Jones made that 3 to kind of give them back the lead, I think, I thought the place was going to come off the roof. It was pretty exciting.
Florida went from 52 to 41 in the net, and I know that everybody gets freaked out by any huge jumps. It's interesting. Tennessee, which lost on the road, didn't go down. They were number 2. They're still number 2 in the net. I know that the net is something that you find interesting because you have to, because it matters, but you can't get too caught up in any rankings right now.
Well, you have to remember for Tennessee last night, it's a quad 1 loss.
Yeah.
It's no big deal.
Yeah.
It's no big deal. It was a much bigger deal that Florida won it as a quad 1 win. It's their second one. They still are only 3-9 in quad 1, quad 2 combined. They don't have any stains on their resume, which is good.
Right.
Oddly enough, I had Mississippi State last week. Mississippi State, the only thing missing from their resume is league wins. Like Mississippi State has 3 quad 1 wins.
Yeah.
And so that's what's keeping them under consideration, to use a Leonardo term. So, yeah, it's important. But you have to also remember, I get asked this all the time. How, like, Kentucky won the other night at Ole Miss and actually dropped some spots in Leonardo's last 4 in or whatnot. How can that happen? Our team won, but we dropped. That doesn't seem right. Well, it also is dependent upon what other teams do around you. So Florida last night, I'll give Florida fans an example. Florida, by winning last night, I haven't seen the Leonardis today. I'm sure they jumped 6 or 7 teams, and I promise you, all 6 or 7 of those didn't get beat last night.
That's right.
It's
exactly.
just that other teams can jump you because of their resume builders.
All right, it's time for us to play Yes, Nowhere, or Maybe, which we do with every guest. Of course, it's brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak. If you go to Big Mills and tell them you were listening to another duly noted podcast, free French fries with your order. First off, for Mark Wise on Yes, No Way, or Maybe, the SEC has a team in the Final Four.
I mean, maybe. It's definitely not a definite yes.
And it's not a definite. I don't think it's a definite no either,
Right. Alabama is built the correct way. I mean, their numbers are like 5th and 12th defensively, offensively. That qualifies. Is there a team outside of Alabama or Tennessee that can make the Final Four? Probably not.
No. I think Kentucky, while we see them as doing what they always do, getting better, I still don't think they have enough talent to go any further. I mean, many of those guys were around during the St. Peter's game.
Right.
So,
it'll be interesting. I know they were damaged goods the other night because Wallace didn't play. There's a big deal because they made a lineup change, put Wheeler on the bench. I'm not a big fan of small guards unless you have an extraordinary skill set, like a Zakai Ziegler.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a problem, but most of the time, small guards are a problem because you have to hide them defensively. I don't care what any coach says. You have to hide small guards defensively.
And they shut over him a lot in that game. By the way, he did score 15 points, but he took 19 shots and never got to the free throw line. That was an odd line to see that in that game. All right, number 2 on Yes, No Way, or Maybe. In a league full of stars, and there are a lot of stars in this league, Colin Castleton makes first team All SEC.
Probably no. And I only say that because of the depth of the league.
Right.
I mean, you're going to put Oscar on the first team, and you're going to put Brandon Miller on the first team. I mean, there's no question about those two. And then it probably gets really jumbled. I mean, he will be in that mix. I don't remember how many people do they put on the first team?
It depends. I think the coaches put like 7. So he has a better chance on that one.
He'll be close. He'll be close.
Yeah.
I mean, Kobe Brown is going to be on the first team from Missouri.
I like Kobe Brown a lot. Yeah.
I'd have to go through again,
he'll be in the mix, but you're right. But we've seen how hard he's played all year, and
he's been sensational.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't personally think Florida is really good defensively, but he makes up for a lot of mistakes because of his ability to be a rim protector.
Right. Exactly. And finally, now that number 3 on Yes, Nowhere, Maybe, now that Steve Spurrier is getting a street named after him, you were looking to have one named after your wife. I call it Mary Wise Block. There you go. I want the campaign has started.
Well, can I just say definitely yes?
Yeah, because she might see this. So, Mark, always great talking to you, buddy. And we love that you do so much. Next time we get you on, we'll talk about how you've kind of expanded your role and stuff like that. And you're doing so many games. It's unbelievable. When I turn on a game, I go, oh, Mark, I can watch this game. Some guys, as you know, I cannot listen to, but Mark Wise for sure.
Thank you very much, Pat. Very kind of you.
I appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon. All right, we'll be back with all of our great stuff. Hesser and Kipke, 3 things and more. Leonardo's, certainly Adam's Rib Coat. I got a great Adam's Rib Coat to go. Gator of the Week. You're going to love this one. Or you may not. You may think I'm an idiot. Anyway, we'll be back with more here on another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another Dooley Noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life. And the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Pat Dooley Storytime is brought to you by Eastlake Pediatrics. Nobody knows how to provide pediatric health care for little Gators better than Dr. Mike and the other board-certified pediatricians and the pediatric nurse practitioners of Eastlake Pediatrics. They have been providing personalized health care to the children of Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough counties since 2004. And with the recent addition of Dr. Chris, who is also board certified in sports medicine, they are now offering care for youth sports injuries as well. To learn more about Eastlake Pediatrics, call 727-372-6760. And to get to know them better, listen to Dr. Mike and Dr. Carey on their Peds and Pop podcast on multiple platforms.
Is your bank dropping the ball, not playing with heart or skill? Then you need to check out the scouting report on Campus USA Credit Union. That's a 5-star recruit if I've ever seen one. Campus has it all, like great rates and products, friendly service, and smart game plans for you and your money. So why not put some star power in your financial life? Visit campuscu.com or any campus service center today.
Honey, can I recruit you to take the garbage out?
Jeffrey, what are you doing?
Well, I'm joining the band, of course. Since Meldon Law is the official law firm partner of the Florida Gators, I want to help.
Dad, we're litigators. Let's stick to helping people in the courtroom.
Well, can we still hang out and jam a little bit? At Meldon Law, we won't back down.
The games of the week and the games of the weekend every week are brought to you by the Ben Ige team at Odell Realty. Ben Ige graduated from the University of Florida in 1998. He and his team now help Gators find vacation homes in Western North Carolina that also double as investment properties. Ben and his team have helped many folks take advantage of the incredible opportunities in mountain homes that also produce amazing returns on investments. Ben Ige and his team at Odell Realty go the extra mile to find properties and evaluate their income potential for their clients. Maybe you've thought of buying a home that can be used as short-term rental via Airbnb or Vrbo, generate income for you, and be a place for your family to vacation. Or you may just be looking for a great way to expand your real estate investment portfolio. I know I am. Visit www.beneige.com/Gators. That's www.beneige.com/Gators and discover what owning your own short-term home can accomplish for you. That's Ben Ige at Odell Realty, licensed real estate broker in North Carolina and proud Gator alum. Visit www.beneige.com/Gators or call 704-201 4264.
Calling Gator Nation. You're invited to be part of Gator history on Friday, February 10th for the official dedication of Steve Spurrier Way at Celebration Point Promenade in front of Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Lots of dignitaries and press will be on hand to witness this historic event. And it's open to all who bleed orange and blue. It's the grand unveiling of Steve Spurrier Way. It's all happening Friday, February 10th from 5:30 to 6:15 at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point.
Okay, welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, where the HBC will have a street named after him on Friday. I think it is of next week. And, next Friday, a week from today. So that's cool, and we're looking forward to that. We'll be out here for that as well. It is time for us to get to three things. And three things, as always, is presented by Hesser and Kipke. Hesser and Kipke, which is a Gainesville law firm specializing in the area of workers' compensation and family law. Ken and Jennifer take great pride in their one-on-one, one-to-one focus on each and every client they represent. Ken is board certified by workers' compensation law by the Florida Bar, while Jennifer possesses an extensive jury trial experience with nearly 20-year background as a prosecutor. Don't believe me? Why would you not believe me? Believe me. Or you can check out their 50 five-star Google reviews, or better yet, give them a call at 352-339-9920. That was difficult to get to because the first time I tried it, I sneezed. I've got the pollen in the air the last couple of weeks, because I had a rental car, and I'll get to the rental car in a minute, but I had a rental car, and it was just covered. It was a darker color. It was just covered in pollen. So hopefully I'll get through the rest of it. All right, let's get to three things. Number one, I'm a big Kareem fan, okay? So the fact that LeBron, and I'm not a LeBron fan, the fact that LeBron is getting ready to pass him pains me a little bit. But okay, if you play enough games, you're going to go past him at some point. It's fine. It's not that big a deal. However, I know that ESPN does not feel that way. They feel like it's a huge deal because they have the NBA. So if they Aaron Judge us with LeBron, I'm going to be really mad. Like if I'm sitting there watching Florida, Kentucky on Saturday night, and all of a sudden they go, "Oh, we're going to do a live look in at LeBron's free throws here." I am going to get madder than I did. Now, I didn't like the Aaron Judge thing. I thought it was crazy. I wanted to watch, because a lot of times it would come up. I would have the two TVs going, and one of them would be a smaller TV. And then the game got this big because they have to have an Aaron Judge watch. College football people did not like it, and I don't think college basketball people are going to like it if they do it here. But they'll do it probably, and who knows? But don't do that. Don't Aaron Judge us with this one. Number two, I did want to give a shout out because I haven't talked about them very much lately, and there's a reason, because they haven't played very well. But the women's basketball team getting a win over Texas A&M. Texas A&M not very good, but they did win Thursday night. So congratulations to them. I think they're 3-6 in the league now, halfway through it, and they're not in good shape net wise. They're going to have to win some games. It's kind of like the men, although they're way lower than where the men are, but they're going to have to win some games. It's the same old thing. Yeah, you got to win good games. You have to beat good teams for the NCAA to say, yeah, we'll let you in. We'll bring you into the fold. There's not that many spots. Everybody acts like there's a 68. That's too many. Now we want to go to 90. Yeah, let everybody in you want. I don't care if you let them all in. It's more games to watch, more content as far as I'm concerned. But congratulations to Kelly Ray Finley, who I know this is her favorite spot in the world, right upstairs, because they're here a lot at Steve Spurrier's. But to get that win over Texas A&M, that was good. And finally, I talked a little bit last Monday about LSU getting a lot of love in the preseason. There's another team in the same division that's going to get a lot of love because the news came out this week that Anais Smith, wide receiver who blew his ACL out, I think preseason last year, really good player. Now, again, you don't know coming back how good he's going to be, is coming back for a fifth year or maybe a sixth or maybe a seventh. Who knows? But he's coming back. That's the point. And so Texas A&M, has got this class. I know their class wasn't as good this year. In fact, if you look at some people, Florida had a better class than Texas A&M, but those are just rating services. But that is going to be a team with a quarterback back, with an offensive line that was, should be better because they've been around each other. That great recruiting. This is kind of what A&M was probably seeing. We're gonna be really good in a couple of years, but everybody wanted it right away, and then everybody judged because they didn't go to a bowl game. But they did obviously finish the season with a nice win over LSU. So anyway, that's another team that's going to be getting a lot of summer loving. I can tell you. I may do a summer loving 12 things this summer or maybe going into the summer. These are the teams that are going to be getting it. And those two right away would be the first two I would put on that list, LSU and Texas A&M. All right, that is three things, or those are three things. Those are three things. But it is three things. I don't think you can do both. Anyway, brought to you as always by the great folks at Hesser and Kipke. We appreciate them so much, and they also sponsor Robbie Andrews segments. Robbie will be on Monday to do yes, no, where, maybe. Of course, Mark Wise did it today. Let us get to our games of the weekend. Brought to you by Ben Eig at Odell Realty. We appreciate him in his second month as a sponsor now that we're in February. Well done, Ben. All right, let's start. Well, first of all, the Florida game, you need to know, is 8:30. It is an ESPN game at Kentucky. It's going to be a tough game, especially, late games are never easy for teams in any sport because you sit around a hotel all day. They try to give you things to do. But, the bottom line is they're not easy for either team. Both teams, they're sitting around in their dorms or wherever, whatever castle they live in Lexington. So there is a lot of sitting around watching other games. But it'll be a tough game. But it is at 8:30 on ESPN. So the mothership. Other games, and I wanted to talk about, we're going to start doing this because we did it during football season. The national game, I think, is Kansas at Iowa State. You got 8 versus 13. Kansas coming off the big win over Kansas State. Certainly it was a win they needed to get. So that is a national game. And there's a lot of ranked on ranked this week. So this Saturday should be a fun day of watching basketball. It makes up for us not having any football this weekend. And then the SEC game, other than the Florida-Kentucky game, would be Auburn at Tennessee, which I think we're all interested to see how Tennessee comes back from that loss to Florida. That wasn't a good loss to Florida. Obviously, ended up losing by 13. I mean, the game was way closer, as we know. That game is at 2:00 on ESPN. The Kansas-Iowa State game is at noon on ESPN. So there you go. There's a good way to spend your day. Or you could turn to the Pro Bowl, where they're going to be playing cornhole, I think. There is no way to make the Pro Bowl interesting. They're trying. They're doing. I like that they're trying. I give them a pat on the back for trying, but it's not going to be. You're going to have to be hardcore into flag football or something. I don't know. Anyway, just so you know, if you want to watch it, it's on at 3:00 on ESPN and on ABC, and I think ESPN 9 and Ocho and everything, and it's all over the place. It's probably on Nickelodeon too. But that's the Pro Bowl. So those are our games of the weekend. Appreciate Ben Eig and Odell Realty for bringing them to us. Let us get to our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick picks. We're almost done for the next cycle. We're going to pull one next Friday. Definitely decided we're pulling one on Friday. $25 at Leonardo's to the qualifier. We'll mix them all up in a bag and let you know. A lot of you did not qualify last week because you picked Tennessee. I gave you Florida in 3 points, and you still picked Tennessee. I would have said the same thing. There was only a couple of you that had the faith and were able to qualify. But we'll pick the winner, and also you will get a copy of my book, Game of My Life, the newly updated copy, signed or unsigned, depends on what you want. All right, so look, there's going to be a winner, and there's going to be a loser. The NFC or the AFC. You got to pick. Sorry. I would just flip a coin, personally. because we don't even know. They're judging it based on all these different things, and you get 3 points for winning this, whatever. There's going to be a winner. There's going to be a loser, NFC or AFC. If they push, everybody qualifies. How about that? All right, that is our Leonardo's at Millhopper Quick Picks. We appreciate our great friend Kyle Cohen over there. Of course, another one of many also sponsors of the Bob Dooley Invitational, which is full. It is not only full, I think we're almost full of holes that people can be on, to do stuff. And also, the only thing we're really lacking is just to start collecting prizes, gift certificates, and everything. If you want to get involved, there are still a couple of holes we could get you on. If you want to get involved, just give me a call. You know the number. You know my name. Look up my number. That was a song by the Beatles, believe it or not. They did it like one of their very first songs. It was released, I think, on the anthology. I don't know that they released it on. It might have been on Magical Mystery Tour, because that's the only album I never bought. All right, let us get to our Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the Week. And the Gator of the Week is going to be all those fans, the Rowdy Reptiles, who made, and here was the way the game opened with this shot. That is the cutest girl there. Do you see that girl? Tammy, do you think that girl's cute right there with the red hair? She's got dyed red hair. She's really cute. This is the opening for ESPN. This is what I was right in my face. That was my daughter. She was on the front row, right on the front row. Unlike Bob Uecker, she was on the front row. She is such a Rowdy Reptile, and I give them a lot of credit. You see those players see it, they feel it all the time, and you saw them turning around and pumping them up. They were so excited, getting them excited. They do a great job, and the Rowdy Reptiles are a big part of why people want to come to school. In fact, Florida just got a commit. I think his name is Alex Condren, but I may be screwing that name up. 6'11" kid from Australia, and he's going to be coming here, and came to the Missouri game and loved the crowd. So give them credit. Give them credit for helping Florida win that big game on Tuesday night. So the Gator fans, especially the Rowdy Reptiles, especially Kelsey Dooley, are Adams Ribco to Go Gators of the Week. Let us get to this, that, and the other. This, that, and the other. We always love it. It is presented, as always, by Ironwood Golf Course, just out there 2 days ago. And by, of course, Ballyhoo Grill, just going to be there this weekend. Two of my favorite places. And, of course, Darshackow, where I know a lot of you have do your insurance business. So we appreciate Darshackow Insurance as well. All three of them on this, that, and the other. This. Okay, so I had to take my car in. I had a fender bender, and it's amazing. I got a new car, and 4 different people backed into me and didn't leave a note or anything. So I had all these dents. I had to get them fixed. And so I was without my Sirius radio, which I love Sirius radio, and mainly because there's so many things to listen to, and you just can keep flipping. You don't have to be looking, just keep flipping. I've got about 40 channels that I like to listen to. So I didn't have it. Now, as my wife pointed out, you could hook your car, your phone up to it. You have a Sirius app on there. Too complicated for me. That'd be like asking me to put together a chair. That's just not going to happen. You put the chair together or buy it assembled, which I will do. I'm not good. I'm good with some things. Math, good. I'm really good at math. Somewhat good. I'm good at knowing the names of character actors. Really good at that. But not this. Anyway, so I never did it. I just listened to local radio. It's not good, people. Okay. Other than the tailgate, 4 to 6 weekdays on WRUF. So, but one thing I did, that was that I tried to get into something just to be educated in a way, just because that's part of it is I want to learn things. So I listened to Dan Patrick Show. Now, the Dan Patrick Show is available on Sirius, but I always went right by him because and it goes back to one incident. Okay, this is kind of Pat Dooley story time. 2000, we're at the Final Four, Indianapolis. I think we ate that night at St. Elmo's, which is unbelievable. And there's no point even describing the food. It's just ridiculous. And then we went to the bar kind of nearby, and I'm walking in and we're looking around, and all of a sudden I see Dan Patrick is leaning against a bar, with a beer. Almost like he was like waiting for somebody to come up and go, "Hey, you're Dan Patrick." That is the impression I got of him. The very smarmy. Is that smarmy? Smarmy. Yes. He's smarmy. So that's what I got. I've never met him. I still haven't met him. But that's not fair on my part. That's just a lasting impression. But the thing is, so I started listening to the show, and this is the other. Started listening to the show, and I go, oh, yeah, I used to really like this show. Oh, yeah. You have to give it time. You have to be patient with it. It's on RUF as well in the mornings. It's really good. And guess who one of their guests was this week? Guess. Go ahead. That's not a guess. No, it wasn't me. No, I've not been on the Dan Patrick show. No, it was Sally Field. I'm like, who gets Sally Field? We had Mark Wise. They got Sally Field. I do like Mark Wise better, though, although I like Sally Field a lot. All right, so that is this, that, and the other, brought to you, as always, by Ironwood, by Ballyhoo, and by Dar Shakow Insurance. So let's get to Pat Dooley story time. And last week on the radio, I was being very negative early in the week about Florida's football team going into this year. And I started thinking, and people were kind of like, hey, they're not going to be that bad. They were like being not gidiots. They were being the kind of people that were saying, why are you so down on them? And it kind of made me think about it. And I started thinking about it, and I went, you know what? I think it's the St. Augustine thing. I think myself, Robbie, his brother Tim, my brother Tim, were beaten down by a lot of bad seasons of football when we were kids. In fact, I was remembering this story about Florida beating FSU 42-13 in 1972, and it was an upset. And we went up onto the roof and had this huge piece of platform and had written it up there. We wrote it up there, and so everybody could see it going by on A1A. FSU who 42-13. We were pretty excited. We were happy. Guys were honking. My mom made us take it down because some guys were cussing at her and stuff. Because literally, we were right on the road. But those were the kind of it was a big deal when they won a game. And I think we got beat down by that. I remember one time Robbie getting so mad during a game that he tore the seam of his jeans all the way up, just tip tearing. He was so mad. There were a lot of holes in the wall too. But I think maybe that's why we see the negative. And so I'm thinking about that. And then I hear from Robbie's wife that during the Florida game, they're up 10. There's a couple minutes to go. And Robbie gets a call from his brother, and it's on speakerphone. And he goes, I don't know how they're going to screw it up, but I know they are. And I'm like, that's the St. Augustine in us. We are just creatures of this environment we grew up in, where we should have been happy. We live on the beach. Let's go to the beach. Let's do this. We live in a great town. It's a great place to grow up. No, we're miserable because the Gators. They're only 6-4-1 this year. That was us. We were Eeyore before there was ER. Well, actually, Eeyore was around longer than that. Anyway, that's my Pat Dooley story time. Brought to you, as always, by Eastlake Pediatrics, the great folks there. Mike Jordan, we appreciate him, and we appreciate all his contributions to the Bob Dooley as well. That's going to do it for the show. We appreciate everybody, including Jared and Tammy, our co-producers. Is that okay to say that? Or executive producer, assistant producer. There you go. We'll do that. All right, and we'll be back with another show on Monday with Coach Spurrier. Till then, I'm Pat Dooley saying I'm deep, I'm way back, and I am out of here.